Hello and welcome once again to Ignite Your Impact. My name is Jen Rhodes. I am, as always, right next to my co-host, Mr. Matt Rhodes.
Good morning.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
Good.
It is gorgeous outside. So if you guys watch us on YouTube, you see how just perfectly lit we are. But it's because we have a north-facing window. So we just get to watch the sky when we do our podcast. It's just a gorgeous, incredibly inspiring landscape.
It's a little humid.
Oh my God, you're such a baby.
I'm all
You're
good.
such a baby. This is my favorite time of year.
Yeah.
I know. Our sons went to go fishing today, and it's a weekend, by the way. And he went to go fishing, and he came back. He said, "It's too hot to fish." I'm like, "No, it's perfect. Let's go outside.
Yeah.
Let's take our shirts off. Let's go." No.
Before we do any of that, we got to jump into today's podcast.
Yes, we've got to handle some tactics. I'm super excited for today's topic, though.
Yeah,
I really am.
I'm pumped for today because we are going to, I would say we're going to peel back the layers of how we work with a client, how we take them from a position of usually being overweight to being shredded and enjoying the process. But the key here, and I want you to remember this, is how they get to the point of doing it for the rest of their life.
Yeah, that's absolutely key. How do we make that transformation from novice to mastery? And it's a shorter time span than you might think.
Yeah, anyone listening right now, you're probably in some sort of a fitness journey. You've been in one, and we'll touch on those. But I want you to stick around because the stuff we're going to share is you're going to fall into one of these areas, and it's going to hit for you. You know,
Yeah.
This is a podcast for everyone.
I think every single listener, even if you are what you consider mastery, I think everyone can get something from today.
Yep.
Maybe not for fitness. Maybe you can apply it to different areas of your life. You're going to be able to figure out where you are. We're going to talk about these 4 things here in a minute. But you're going to be able to immediately know, nope, that's where I'm at. That's the stage I'm in. You're going to figure out if something's been holding you back. And then you're going to figure out what you need to do next, if anything. You may not need to adjust if you're in a fitness journey. But whether this is your first time listening to us or whether this is number 68 for you, it's number 68 for us. I can't believe we are already at 68 episodes. There is going to be a light bulb moment for you. I can promise you that, because we are going to take the mystery out of this fitness for life thing. And I want to speak and I want to go through the 4 quadrants we're going to describe. But as we go through them, I want to show you how you can use these to become the absolute best version of yourself. Get the body you've always dreamed of. And without all the extra bullshit. This is how we completely master tactics to where they become automatic. This is not just a topic for us to discuss today. I need you to understand, if you're first joining us, this is everything that we do. What we're going to teach you today. And it can apply to every area of your life, every single area that you want to master. And we're going to dig into these 4 quadrants, these 4 stages here in a second. But I want to tell you where they came from. Our mentor shared them with us a few years ago, and there's a few books surrounding this type of psychology. But he shared these with us to show us how to automate learning and mastery. You know how some people just have all the right tactics? Well, it's not by accident. And I'm going to use a bit of his language as we go through this just for some more context. But you can use these 4 quadrants in any area of your life, anything you're wanting to master. But they are super effective in fitness. Obviously, we talk fitness because that's the fastest thing you can adjust and change and see a visible difference, right? It's super effective in fitness. So this is why we use them daily to get people the results they want. But I want you to first think about where you are right now in your journey based on whatever goal you're gunning for, right? So you can see where you are at when we go through these 4 quadrants.
It's going to be super, super important that you understand where you're at to really take advantage of today's message and just to really understand what we're going through. So based on our audience, I'm going to guess that each one of you listening right now probably falls into one of 3 categories. The first one is you are someone who are, and again, we're only talking fitness here because this, like Jen said, this is super effective with fitness. But the first one is you're making some gains, and it's automatic for you. Things are just automatic. You don't have to think. The pillars of being that 1% in your body are there. The behaviors are second nature. You may already be at 1%. You may not be there yet, but it's inevitable that you're going to be there. You basically are going to be in this 4th quadrant when Jen gets to the 4th quadrant. That's where that person is, where everything's just easy in fitness. The second type of person that's listening right now is someone who's probably making some gains still, but things are not automated for you. It's this fitness thing is there and you're in it, but you have to think about it and it's not automated for you, but you're in the hunt, meaning you're starting to make progress. Things are starting to become more natural, whether that be the workouts, the nutrition, whatever it is, the mindset, the sleeping, the water. Things are starting to get there, but it's not easy yet. It hasn't become super easy. And then the third one, which is where a lot of clients start with us, they're putting time at the gym. So you're putting time in at the gym. You're probably doing some cardio or maybe a lot of cardio. And you've definitely done some different things with your nutrition, meaning you've probably tried to cut carbs. Maybe you've done like a keto, or you've removed sugar, or you've done even fasting, or you've done some different things to get results. And maybe you've done a handful of all of those things. Maybe you've done the gym, the cardio, and some stuff with your nutrition, and you've gotten some results. But then it came back on and you're frustrated because of it. You're at this point of saying, is this really worth it? Do I really need a 6-pack? Is this really worth it? Do I really want to continue on this roller coaster? You're probably going to be in quadrant 1 or 2 here. If this is the category you fall into, this is the type of person who's putting all the effort in, but not getting the results, and it's really hard. There's nothing easy about it. And these 4 quadrants, when Jen goes through them, they're gonna show you how you can get off this roller coaster. It's going to tighten up all of your processes, and it's going to create mastery so it becomes automatic. It's just part of your life. So once you know where you're at in those 3 areas that I lined out, Jim, why don't you start going through the quadrants and let's see if that helps people place where they're at.
Yeah, absolutely. So it breaks down to understanding the 4 quadrants, right? And again, language matters, but it's important to understand that there's 0 emotion behind this. Quadrant 1, unconscious incompetence. You don't know what you don't know. You think you're right. You could be off just a little. This is where maybe 10% of people lie when they start with us. I say 10% because in this quadrant, you still think you can do this on your own. But we said something maybe in a podcast or on our social that piqued your interest. So you want to hear more. You want to hear, is this real? Are you a fairy tale, Jen? But you think you know what you're doing. Again, there's no emotion behind these statements. You're super close. You're just off a little. You're just missing it by an inch. This is the person that is putting in the effort at the gym. But I go to the gym 7 days a week. You're putting in the time. You're not seeing that crazy transformation. And if you happen to see a crazy transformation, you put it back on. Unfortunately, you stay in quadrant 1. And if you do, you're going to be in for a roller coaster ride. You're going to constantly grind to see the results, maybe even get some really good ones, only to go backwards due to work, due to vacation, kids' activities. Oh, I got sick, blah, 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 blah. Put all the way back on 2 years later. It's a dangerous quadrant to be stuck in. You don't know what you don't know. Is this where you are?
I would also say, because some people may take that as they think they know it all. That is not what you just described. It is, you unconsciously don't know what you don't know, is what Jen said. You could be doing a workout from high school or college that worked really well back then. So you think that's what you need now at 45 years old. You could be doing some different things that maybe worked previously and you think that's going to work now. So that could be the same. You think you're doing the right thing because maybe it worked in the past or you read it somewhere and it worked for someone else. But that's that. You don't know that it's not working.
Perfect example. I had a client that has killed herself for probably 10 years straight and lifting 6 days a week. And once we started really peeling back the layers, it turns out she's 80% muscle. It's just too heavy for her. So now knowing what we know, she thought she was fat. I'm like, nah, girl, you're a brick shit house. Like we have to cannibalize your muscle now to get to the weight you want.
Yeah.
You've done nothing but put on perfect muscle for the last 10 years. Good job. It wasn't what she wanted. She didn't know what she didn't know.
Perfect.
Quadrant 2, stage 2. And just know you can like leapfrog stages. You can go everywhere. You can go anywhere you want. Stage 2.
Until you get to stage 4.
Until you
and
get
there's
to
no turning back.
You can't. Stage 2, conscious incompetence. You know you don't know. I know I should follow some type of a macro plan, but I don't know what to do. You know you don't know. Again, there's no emotion behind these descriptions. You are aware of what you don't know. You're curious. This is a much larger percentage of people that come to us. I love these people. They're curious and they're coachable because they are aware that they are not aware. They know what they're doing isn't working and they understand there's a missing piece. What am I missing, Jen? Help me understand. I will do anything you say. Again, probably putting in the time at the gym, but they understand it shouldn't be this hard to get results. I'm doing everything right, but it's still not working. What am I missing? And that's why we do a bird's eye view of every section of our clients' lives, because it may be perfect in one area, and there's another area that your coach can see that you're a complete shitstorm. This is a great area, again, because you are super open and you're ready to learn. A lot of people start in the first quadrant and realize over time they need help. This is where your mentality comes into play. I tell you what to do, and you choose if you want to do it. I love this stage.
Yeah, and I would say most of you listening, unless you are in shape and you're for us, I can say, specific clients, you're probably in stage 1 or 2.
Mm-hmm. If you're new,
or if you're not, if you're doing it on your own, you're probably in stage 1 or 2.
If you're new or have a new goal,
Yep.
there. If you have a new goal, because new goals require different rewiring.
Yes.
Stage 3, conscious competence. You leap from not knowing to knowing, and willingness takes over. We have to get you here at this point in time in the shortest amount of time possible. That is key.
Our number one goal, and probably any coach's goal that understands the 4 quadrants, is get them to this stage as fast as possible.
Yes.
You can get them through 1 and 2 and get them into 3, things get much easier. So this is where, as a business, we know if we can get someone to stage 3 as
This
quick
is the rapid
as
fast loss phase.
Yeah, if we get them as quick as possible here, they're going to get transformed and they're going to be a client for life. That's why we have to get you here first. So sorry to interrupt.
You're good.
Yeah.
I think you're cute. This is the practice stage. This is when we first onboard a new client. I take 4 weeks setting different tactics. And if you don't master the first tactic, you don't get to graduate to the second. And we stay there until you master the tactics. There's a reason, because in stage 3, conscious competence, we're going to practice. We're going to practice until it becomes permanent. Any good coach you've seen, it's not practice makes perfect. It's practice makes permanence. There's a reason we'll get to in a second. But this is the rapid fat loss phase. This is where it's just repetition. Repeat. You start in the foundation phase, which is quadrant 2. We're learning the habits, right? You're coachable. And then we get to the rapid fat loss phase in quadrant 3. We just practice. Practicing what we teach you and taking in the feedback and applying that knowledge quickly. This is the trial and error phase. You may try a new tactic and fail. This is where we learn. I love this phase because, again, you're just learning and applying the learnings. It's like a golf swing. It's not 100% natural yet. Now, if you're a pro, yes, it better be natural. But for us weekend warriors, we're not doing it all day, every day. And so we have to think about it. We have to make sure our stance is right. We have to make sure our grip is right. Okay, I start with the right hip, shoulder, and then follow through. You think about every single step consciously. You're thinking about it. Conscious competence. It's like a golf swing. That's a perfect analogy.
You're going through the motions in your head of how do I grip.
You have to think of like, da, 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 da.
Yeah, and this is the phase where you're thinking about your food, all those things, of just planning and things like that.
Yep. Oh, yes, exactly. How am I going to do this on vacation? It's a phase where you will start to see results because of the habits you've learned kick in. And again, this is why it's key that we get you there as fast as possible. And then magically, one day, you graduate to that 4th quadrant, unconscious competence. It's automatic. It becomes natural. It becomes you. It is now your identity. You know exactly what to do when you first wake up. You know exactly what you're going to be eating. It's back to that golf swing. If you're a pro, you've seen where someone steps right up and hits the ball like 300 yards down the fairway like it was nothing. That's what we're talking about. We've practiced it so much that they no longer have to think about it. And those payoffs that we mentioned earlier, they're coming in this quadrant. This is when your spouse can't keep their hands off of you because the results came so fast. This is where that confidence just shoots through the roof because it's now your identity. This is what I do now. You're proud of what you're doing. You're proud of the effort you've put in, but you're also proud of the person you've become. Matt, let me ask you now. In the last 5 years, how many days off have we taken off of lifting? Be honest.
I don't know how to answer that question. I work out 4 days a week for 45 minutes to an hour. And
I can't think of a good stretch that we've taken more than 4 days off of lifting.
Oh, yeah. Okay, now I know.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I can't honestly think of the last. It's just part of us.
Part of my identity.
I need to know if we're going somewhere, what's the gym look like? Okay, what's my plan if there's not a gym? Like, it's fine. There's no drama behind it. It's part of my identity. Me needs a gym. But this is where others see changes. It's not conscious in terms of your habits anymore. It's just automatic. People are drawn to that. This all starts to happen in this quadrant. And when you get here, everything is so natural that you will never go back. It is easy. Is it challenging? Sure, but it's easy.
Golf is the perfect example. But even so much as, picking up a pencil and writing a sentence out. I mean, it's pretty hard probably for anyone to think back of how hard that was at first. And then naturally, if I told you to grab a pencil and sign your name, it's just natural. You just pick it up and go. That is what this stage is. It becomes so natural that you don't even have to think about it. So we said it's so important to get clients to stage 3 because they start to see results and they're practicing and learning and saying, holy shit, this is really cool. I'm learning these things. And they do it so much all of a sudden, like you said, one day they just wake up and it's like, boom, this is automatic. I weigh my food. I go to the gym. I do my steps. I go to sleep. It's just automatic. So now that you know those 4 quadrants, it makes sense. But you're also probably asking, how come I haven't gotten to that quadrant 4? Why is that so tough? Well, you've never made it to quadrant 4 because you did this fitness thing probably for just long enough for a vacation, maybe a wedding. So it never hit automation. You had this one goal out there, this one thing you wanted to go off, and you were probably off just by a millimeter when you were doing this. So it was hard. You had to grind to get to where you wanted to be for that vacation. And you never got into the quadrant 4, and you may have been off a little bit, so it was really hard. I want you to think back. Anytime that you've had some results, think back to where you were at. Were you grinding really hard? Was it tough? And was it because of a one-time event? Or maybe even you woke up and didn't like the person looking back at you in the mirror. Or you didn't like the way the clothes fit anymore. It never became automation because it never became part of your identity. Because you set your identity around looking good for one-time event, or from not looking a certain way, or from not having to wear clothes. I hope everyone kind of understands that you set your identity up for those one-time events or those one things and not for lifetime. Now, don't get me wrong. I love one-time events. We do it all the time. It's what we call beach ready. 4 to 6 weeks beach ready. But there's all that foundation in there before that. The root of the problem is you haven't figured out what your identity is. And I'm going to make this super simple. If you went to college, if you didn't go to college, you can relate this another way. But if you went to college, this will hit home. You went through these 4 quadrants. You went to college, but you identified as a freshman or sophomore. You were going to be a doctor. You were going to be an attorney. You were going to be a real estate agent. You were going to be a teacher. You were going to be a business owner. Whatever it was, you identified as that type of profession. Whatever it was, you were working towards that end goal and you identified as being that person. And nothing was automatic in college until you started to practice it over those 4 years. For some of my friends, 6 years. Yeah, but eventually it became automated. That's what these 4 quadrants are. Mm-hmm. You don't know what you don't know. And then all of a sudden you realize you don't know. And then you realize, I'm going to practice this. And then it became automatic and you stepped into that profession. That's the same thing here. You have to start, though, by doing some work. You have to go deep down to a place you probably not visited for a while. Maybe years, maybe even decades. You've got to go back to the place that lit you up, that you were unstoppable. You knew you were a 1%er. I mean, I can go back to that place as a child where I remember that I was different than other people. If you're listening right now, you may have had that same thing, that you were different than other people. You were not going to be the standard person with a nice house, couple nice cars, white picket fence, and all the American dream. You knew you were above that. You have to go back to that place to set up your identity. You knew you wanted to be a much different person. Unfortunately, society got a hold of you. And they've tried to take that away. That's why you have to go back and set up that identity. When you begin to identify as a 1%er in your body, you are on the way and on the road to automation. That's the key. That is the secret. In that quadrant 3, you begin to identify as a 1%er in your body because you're making gains and you know you're going to get there. You're not worrying about it, just a trip or how clothes fit. It's how you see yourself and how you identify. You're still going to go to the gym and do the workouts regardless of what you do. You're still going to be messing with the nutrition and all the other things that go with it. So let's do it the right way this time. Once and for all in this cycle and get more into automation. And if you're in a place right now where you think, man, I'm 30 pounds overweight. It's really tough for me to picture myself as a 1%er in my body. It's really tough for me to picture myself with abs or in a bikini or whatever that is. I want you to know we're there. We've been there. We work with clients that are there all the time. Reach out to Jen and I if you're in that place. Just like you, we need people to help give us faith before we have faith in ourselves. That is why we have so many coaches, not just fitness coaches, business coaches, relationship coaches. We need them to help us move through those quadrants and make things automatic. Not only do those coaches provide the map, but they provide the faith in helping you identify as that 1% in whatever thing you're working in life. So if you're in that area, reach out to us. Let us help you get to this thing to automation.
I love it. I absolutely loved today's. I hope you found value in all of this. I hope you took some nuggets, wrote them down.
I hope it took these secrets of how someone does this the rest of their life. It's they get into quadrant 4. That's how it is so freaking easy.
You know what's so funny? Quadrant 4 is when my clients get pulled aside and asked, "Are you a trainer?"
Yeah.
Like, it's just natural. And they're like, "Oh my God, I got asked if I was a trainer." I'm like, it's because you behave like one. It's automatic now. You don't have to think about it.
So if you struggled, listen to those 4 quadrants.
Yeah.
You just got to get into 4.
Yeah. Guys, if this hit, share it, like it, give us a 5-star review, tag us in your Instagram stories. But if anything, reach out to us. We're ready. We're ready to get you to that quadrant 4, baby. Talk next time.